everyone, and welcome back to the Grateful Not Greedy podcast. My name is Kris, and I am here with my very friendly co-host, and her name is
Rachel. Hi, everybody.
Rachel's here. Yay. Rach, today I have something to talk to you about that I think that you and I will have a very fruitful discussion on this, because I feel like we have a similar viewpoint on this topic of friendships.
Oh, good one.
And friends. And how do you navigate them? And how do you know who is a friend and who isn't a friend? And are they always your friend, or does that change? And how do you break up with friends? Do you just let them slide? Like, it's just really a confusing topic, I feel like. And maybe it's even more confusing for women because we're connectors and we just want to make sure that we're always, connecting and holding on and how are you doing and that kind of stuff. So I have a situation going on that I'll just kind of frame the conversation with you. So I have a friend that I've known for a really long time. I consider her a friend. I should start there, right? I think we're friends. But she and I are very, I feel like we're very aligned in the way that we approach life, our intellect, our drive, our personal tastes. There's just a lot of things about her that I am drawn to, as a friend and as a person in the world. And so she and I have known each other for a long time. We're not close geographically. However, sometimes, here and there, if you travel with your family or you go on vacation or maybe you have a little work trip or something like that, you might be closer. So there have been times when geographically we have been closer. And what I'm noticing now is, even though we've been in each other's lives at, a wedding, or, like, I go to their wedding, or that's a long time ago, right? Or, maybe there's another thing that's kind of a relevant event. But then as time goes on and there's opportunities to connect, I'm not getting the nod, if you will. Okay. So I feel like I kind of want to understand this, and you can be helpful, because in situations like this where that you're friends, right? I think we're friends, but you're kind of like sad and disappointed because you think a lot of this person and you really want to be friends. And I'm like, am I the seventh grade girl who, can't be in the popular group? Is she like too good for me, or like, right? Yeah. Like, I don't know. I don't think she is, but maybe she is. Or maybe they just have a different viewpoint, a different way of connecting. But, we've connected differently in the past and now it's just different. So it would help me a lot, and maybe the whole world, if we just talked about friendships and how do you sustain them? How do you pare them down, as you go throughout your life, and how do we look at them? And you could tell me even on that, is that a situation where if I know she's going to be in town, like, am I the loser to be like, hey, so-and-so said you were going to be in town and, I'd love to see you, right? Then I feel like a total loser. Like, she knows where I live, like.
I want to like reel you in for that one. I was like, wow, that one, it reminds me of dating for a moment.
Yeah.
Like, you're like, oh, the guy's not calling me, but I know he's available, and like, should I reach out to him? And it's like, and you're like, I consider her a friend, and you're wondering if she considers you a friend or just an acquaintance, or what is that?
Well, we have been really good friends throughout time, right?
Totally.
So, like, that's kind of the thing. That's what's
every
hard.
Relationship, right?
Yeah.
Even though
Yeah,
someone was
totally.
a big person, I always think about people are in our lives for this moment, this season, or this lifetime. And you have no idea when you meet a person and you connect with the person what the answer to that is. The moment one you figure out pretty quickly, because then they're gone.
Unfortunately, or fortunately, yes.
Yeah, like it was just a moment of whatever reason you guys connected. The season can be longer than a season. It could just be seasons, and lifetime could be from here forward. And you have no idea. And the hard part is, and I resonate so much with this topic, because one of my jokes to people is one of my favorite things to do in this lifetime, or my hobbies, is to collect amazing people. I love
Yes.
friendship,
Right.
right?
Right.
And
Yeah.
I love it. And I also find that sometimes I hold on to them when they don't serve me anymore, or when it's
Or they're not
not,
holding on to you. Yeah.
yeah, or they're not holding on to me, or it's been the season and the season's over. And so the one thing I want to reel back or say, like, let go of is like, am I the loser? Like, that is like seventh grade out on the playground
Oh, but it's
talk.
right there, you know, for
It
I
is
think
right
that's just I
there.
don't know if I could speak for all women. I can certainly speak for a lot of us. I know that, right? It's just so visceral of just that
Yes.
rejection, that,
Yeah.
you know, ostracizing, that
Yeah.
like this way of being out of the group, or, you know, yeah, is she coming in town and seeing lots of other people and then just not like I'm the one that yeah, so it does. It's kind of triggering maybe in that way,
It
right?
is. And I hear you making up stories because your brain is trying to fill in those blanks and making up stories. And
Right.
they're often coming up with the worst case scenario, right?
Yeah.
They're like, she thinks I'm a loser. She doesn't want to see me. She's seeing all these other people, all this stuff. And you have no idea what's really happening. So I
No, you
guess,
don't, Rich. I mean, that's fair. However, I think we, you know, as we go through this conversation, we'll talk about I feel like there's a few tranches, right, of these friendships and the way that they go. And I'm just trying to figure out where this one fits.
okay,
So I feel
let's
like
break it down.
it's like you said, right? So there's the friendships that, you know, you have for a while, and then there's some shift that like okay, we both worked at the same company and now we don't, so you know we were somehow like kind of work friends, and it's just like of attrition, or we used to be neighbors and now we're not neighbors anymore, or we used to, you know, our kids used to go to the same school and now they don't, you know, so that to me is like a friendship of attrition. And personally I don't find that as insulting or
Sure.
or hurtful, because it's
Yeah.
just understandable. It's just like when there's a natural disaster, you know, people seem to be able to like understand that rather than someone coming into your house and stealing from you directly, right? So it's
Right.
that kind of a thing. That seems to be more natural, right? So there's that tranche, the friendship of attrition. And then there's the friendship of something really big crap went down. Like, you know, cheated on your she cheated with your husband. Or you're like, okay, I'm sorry, whatever friend I thought I had before this day is like some big, you know, big
Yeah.
deal happens
Some
where you're like,
event.
okay, obviously that is not someone that I can be friends with, right?
Right.
And then there are those that are kind of these more nebulous, where it's like, okay, we're friends, but maybe it's a little more difficult to keep in touch, or maybe we don't have the same things in common, but we have the same values in common, or I'm the one who's doing the reaching. I feel like I'm the one who's doing the reaching more. You know, but that could ebb and flow, and that could go back and forth. You just have to be paying attention, right? So I feel like then there's those friendships. I mean, to your point, you have the moment, the, you know, the shorter time, and then the lifetime. Well, I also have the, you know, some attrition, or some big thing happens where this friendship is
Yeah.
over, or the kind of I don't know what's going on with this friendship, and is that even a it's kind of like your holiday cards, right? You're like sending out your holiday cards. You're like, dude, I haven't talked to you in 15 years, but here you go.
Yeah.
That's what my kids are doing. If you care, I don't know. I don't even know. But even that, like once in a while, right? You'll not even like, you know, you'll have like 5 or 10 people every year who say like, oh shoot, I didn't know that we had this connection. You know, I also go to
Sure.
Colorado to ski, or I also traveled to
Right.
wherever this year, or something like that. It's kind of cool, right? So
Right.
there's that kind of those kind of friendships, which I feel are also kind of in the, you know, somewhat understandable camp a little bit, but how do we flesh all those out? And yeah, I think even should we be paring down? Shoulding.
Ah,
Do we
okay.
pare down what's reasonable in terms of amount? Some people are connectors. They have 100 friends. I'm a connector. I have probably, like I've said before, maybe a pool of 25 to 30 women that I rely on, probably about five that I really know that I can call. And yeah. Yeah. So I just feel like there's a lot, like you're calling me on my seventh grade stuff, but it's also followed me
It's
a little
it
bit. I mean,
is
I'm not suffering every day, but this one's bothering me because this
clearly.
one is someone I have known for probably, I mean, my whole adult life, almost my whole
Mhm.
adult life. And that's hard.
That's special.
That's
That is
hard just to
special.
like say, and it's not a conversation. And so that's another thing, right? Like, or is it? Right? Is that a
Yeah.
conversation? And are you even going to get the right answer? Because it's like so complicated. It's like what you said with breakups. It's like, am I even going to get the right answer if I'm like, hey, something, 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 and I don't know, are we still friends, or should I not connect with you, or should I, like, do I want the answer, or should I just like, or do I just like let
Yeah,
it?
it is. It's like it's how much do you want to put yourself out there, and how much do you want the answer, and or are you okay with what the friendship is right now, which is just like, hey, how's it going? Thinking of you, and then that's it. And that's just a reinforcement of that person is there. They don't have the time, and that's okay. And maybe we'll reconnect in a year or two when things settle down, and and then it might be she reaches out, and then you're like, I don't have time right now. And it just
Yeah.
pushes it down the road.
I feel like I
So
would always
it's
make time for her though. That's the thing. I think that's what I'm coming up against. It's like I feel like I am a freaking busy person, as we all know. Like it's not like I'm just sitting around waiting for my phone to ring. Um, but I feel like, and okay, this is actually a larger point.
okay. So let me ask you something.
Yeah.
This is, do you both value friendship in the same way?
Red, this was my point that I was getting to. Yeah.
Yeah. And or this
And
friendship in
or
the
are
same
we the
way?
same person in terms, and this is relationships too, right? This is romantic
Yes.
relationships or friendships. Are we the same, we talk about reciprocity. Are we the
Yes.
same, do we speak the same friendship language? I guess we could have that conversation,
Totally.
right? Because they're probably just like
Yeah.
there are these love languages, there are friendship languages. And so some friendships are built
Absolutely.
on gifts, some friendships are built on quality time, friendships are built on you're amazing, words of affirmation. So that's actually a really good point. So I'm thinking, even on this friendship, I feel like this friendship was built on just commonality and just enjoying, conversing with each other and talking about big. I have a lot of friends that I talk big stuff with,
Yeah.
like big topics, and she's one of those. So yeah, I just don't know where to position this.
So it sounds like the commonalities, you share common values, but it also
Mm-hmm.
seems like this friendship, just from what you've shared with me, is longevity. And that
Yeah, it's
is a
longevity.
hard
Yeah,
piece because that is a person that has been by you and watched you evolved 100 times over. And you
totally.
both still have the same values and you value that. That's important to you, which is why this is coming up, I would guess,
Yeah.
because you look at that and that longevity piece as we move through life and get, to this point in our life, people that have been with us and that identify with us, they become more and more valuable. It's like a fine wine that ages,
Okay, this is
right?
interesting because this could be a big
Um,
piece of this puzzle. Yeah, because it
yeah,
is.
and you're like,
Yeah.
this wine is just getting better. Like I just know if we keep aging it and we keep like standing beside each other, maybe not in deep contact, that it will keep getting better. And that longevity means a lot. And
Yeah.
or it has a high value to you. It has a high
Mm-hmm.
value to you and your friendships. And I think that's where the struggle is for you, because if you push back and say, look, like I want to have a friendship, you don't, or do you have space for me in your life? I think there's some fear in there that she might say no. And you're like, but we have this like longevity here that I
Yeah, that's
value
so
so
true, Rach.
much.
Yeah. Right.
And that's hard. I mean,
Well, and
yeah,
that's
it's a
that like
really,
rings a bell too with your relationship conversation, and we could intersperse
Mhm.
those so easily, right? Because you stay in
Totally.
relationships because it's like, well, we have all this history together. Like, what do you mean
Yeah,
we're not? What do you mean we're breaking up, or what do you mean we're not going to be, boyfriend girlfriend or
totally.
whatever? We have all this history, or family, right? You have your family. It's
Yes.
the same thing. It's like, oh, but we're family. It's like, well, okay, but
Yeah.
we get to choose. Yeah, 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 yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
I think, one way, because you brought this up about relationships, I view, and one of my girlfriends said this to me, she's like, and I now believe this, is all of our friends were dating, right? We're dating everyone.
Okay.
So whether you think about like I go out on dates or I'm in a relationship and you're dating, it's great. But all of our friends were doing the same things. And so you like exchange information and are like, oh, should I text them? Like, I'd love to see them. Do they want to go for a swim? Do they want to go for coffee?
Yeah. Should we
And
go
it
shopping
is like
together?
this,
Like, do we see a movie? No, that doesn't work. So we don't talk. Like,
right?
yeah. Well,
Do
how
I
much do
invite
I
them
tell
over
her
for
or him on the
dinner?
first date?
Yeah. So
Oh,
it
yeah.
is. you do the mental gymnastics of like, I'm dating this person, and then like you send a text, you don't hear back. You're like, do they not want to hang out with me? And it can have the same things, like you get ghosted by a friend or you don't hear back from them, and it can have the same effect. But also, if you look at it like you're dating, you have to put energy into a relationship, into a friendship. And the
Yes.
reverse is true. We have to have that given back to us. So part of it is like right now, the friendship you're talking about, from what you've described, it feels like you're putting energy and effort into it. You're not getting that return. And
No.
so it feels uneven and balanced. And, if
Yeah, it feels
you
sad and
were,
depressing.
yeah. And, going back to that longevity piece, there's that piece, right? That you're like, oh,
Well, and
I
I think
value
that's actually a good
longevity.
point though, because then like I know even if we're not friends right now, I know I mean, I'm not like totally insecure, right? It's like I know that we're friends in general, but we just might not be as good of friends as maybe I think we are, right? Or she might
Sure.
not value our friendship in the way that I do, or she
True.
just might have a different expression, a different friendship love language than I do. My friendship love language might
Sure.
be like quality time, and her friendship love language might be gifts or
Right.
something, or words of
Right.
affirmation. And maybe if she's like, "Hey, Kris, I saw that thing. You did a great job. I loved it." And then like I'm like, "Oh, okay, let's get together."
Yeah. So
Right? I mean,
true.
that's like so interesting. And I remember being in an Uber once, like somewhat recently in the last like 6 months or so. And my Uber driver, a woman, we just got to chatting, obviously, blah, blah. And she was talking about it. So she was talking about how hard it was to meet people. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I
Mhm.
can imagine, So she's not from here, but then had moved here. This is kind of a classic story, too. And I was kind of intrigued, like, how do you even meet people? And in my neighborhood, I feel like it's a little insular. I feel like it's kind of, maybe down by the beach and stuff, it's a little more like a flowy culture. But I feel like where I am in this kind of area, that's not easy to kind of break in. So I kind of saw her point. But then she's like, well, but I was driving and I met these two really nice girls, and we were just like two separate. And so she was like, we were talking about that. They were telling me the whole story, and where I was sharing, whatever. And they did exchange numbers. They're like, oh my God, we should like totally go out, or we should, like a
Yeah.
friend thing, right? We should go out on a Friday, or we should go do something. So they exchanged numbers. And she was kind of like miffed because that happened twice. And so she's like, hey, da 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 da. But what I kind of picked up from our conversation, that I was like, there was a time difference. So I was listening to her, and then she's like, yeah, and then I reached out, and then I didn't hear any, crickets, like I didn't hear anything back. And I was like, okay, so they were in your car in, let's say, October, and you're reaching out in, say, end of November, and you're wondering why they haven't got back to you, or you're kind
Uh,
of incensed, right? So I feel even that there's like in a new friendship, to your point about longevity is we're always friends. Like maybe that's it too. Maybe you feel like you
mm,
have unlimited time, or there's such security with, if we ever are in the same room, or if we ever are together, it's solid as a rock. So we don't have to worry
yeah,
about it, which is kind of a dangerous slippery slope too.
it
But in
is.
these nascent friendships, when you just meet someone, that's the time to kind of double down. That's the time to, text
With the
them.
effort.
To your
Hmm.
point about dating, if some guy gets your number and he doesn't call for 2, 3 days, 4 days, I mean, like, I'm sorry, that number's, blocked in the trash, whatever you do, whatever you do in
Yeah.
2020, whatever, 5, 6. Yeah, like that's just forgotten about. So even that, I mean, I felt bad for her in a way, because I was like, gosh, does she just not know that she has to nurture this? And it's not really their job. And by the way, this is a good lesson for me as I'm saying it. She's the one who wants that friendship. She's the one who's out of town. She's the one who needs to make the press
Hmm.
to make that happen, to put the energy in, like you're saying. So when you're starting out, and I think that's even just like a negotiating thing, right? That's like a leverage point. Like, I need a friend. You probably have 10 friends. Like these girls probably had, these
Yeah.
women, whatever, have probably had 10 people that they can call to go out on Friday. She didn't. So you kind of have to learn, gosh, these are like social skills 101, but you have to learn your way to how to wedge in that. So that is, you can't make up stories about that. She had a whole story about that. She had a whole story about that, when really
Yeah.
it could have just been a simple social skill to be taught. True. Like
Well,
very much like this is how you nurture a new friendship and this is how you evaluate it and this is how you know. So I would advise
yes.
her if I were, had her in the car and she were listening and she cared, I would say, hey, when you get that number the next time, text right away. Not right away. With the guys always have this thing. Do I text like in an hour? Do I text like in 12 minutes? The right girl, you can text her 12 minutes later and she'll be like, oh my gosh, yes. But
Right.
yeah, I feel like there's all that too, which is hard.
So it's like just like there's a lot on analyzing like dating and how the communication works. There's not as much on friendships, and
Right.
it rightfully, like believe somewhat for women, friendships are just as up there as relationships, like romantic
Oh,
partnerships.
for
We need
sure.
them.
For
They are
sure.
about
I think the
us. We
older
need
you
our
get,
tribes.
everyone will say, lean into your girlfriends. Yeah.
Yes. And it is so important. And so I would argue we need awareness of how to do that. We need the
Yes.
awareness of like, how do you, just like you date, how do you make a friendship? How do you start it? How do you build
Yes.
it? How are you vulnerable in it? If no one's going to
Oh,
step forward and be vulnerable, that friendship is going to stay surface
gosh,
and
that's such a
not
good point,
depth.
Rach. Yeah.
And so it is like all about taking the risk, just like when you're dating, like you've got to take the risk. And without risk, there is no reward. And I, there's so much here in friendships. Like my brain was like, "This is where do I go?" Because
Yeah.
there's
You're like
so
short
much
circuiting.
important information. But for me, like, um, there is a time that I had to let go of friendship. I had a significant change in my life, right? I got divorced and like things just shifted. Some of those friendships were hard to get rid of. But now I look at friendships. Do you remember the book we were talking about, The Economy of Happiness? Like
Hmm.
how
Having it all. Yeah.
having it all. Thank you.
Hmm.
And she talks about everything in your life takes up, it requires energy, like even in your
Right.
house, right?
Yes.
And so
Yeah.
I would argue the same thing with our friendships. Every friendship you has takes some energy from you. And the question is does that friendship give you energy in return? What is that friendship? Or are you just having it because it fits in your closet, right? Like some
Yeah.
clothing, I like some
Hmm.
shoes. You're
And
like,
your
those
house is
shoes
big
take up
enough. You're
space in
like,
your
whatevs.
closet.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're
Hmm.
like, but do those shoes bring me joy? Like, what do I get from those shoes? If I have not worn them in 5 years, why am I still holding on to them? Same
Hmm.
thing with friends. You're like, am I still like, I always look at friendships as like, do they inspire me? Do they help me learn and grow? Do I feel energized when I'm with them? And like, those are some of the questions I asked. And I'm like, okay, does this friendship still serve the purpose of what,
What about,
what I'm looking for?
can you just like have a good time with them? Can it just
Yeah,
be
but
like,
so the have good
like,
time.
oh, I just like, it's just fun when we go out or whatever. Like, just kind of
Yeah,
like,
but
it's easy or it's this.
that's filling your cup. That's giving you energy. Like you have
Okay.
coffee with them, and afterwards
Yes.
you're like, oh my God, that was such a great
That was so fun.
conversation.
Yeah.
Or even a text back and forth, like, what's going on? Oh my God, yeah, I just did this. Oh, da, da, da. And that will give you a bump, and you're like, oh
Yes,
God, that was so
definitely.
nice.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying they all have to be these deep things. I mean, there's certainly lots of people I have those friendships with, and I cherish those. They're beautiful. But it is a point where just like you clean out your closet, you can
Yes.
look at your friendships that way. And you are a different person today than you were
I
yesterday, and
know.
a very different person a
And a
year
different
ago.
person from 15, 20 years ago too. And so
Totally.
is she. The stuff
Yes.
happens in life. You become different based on your experiences. You think about things differently. So maybe I'm thinking about it like we're still thinking the same like we did when we were in our 20s or even 10 years ago, and that might not
Mhm.
be true. And I think also, I have to be, you said you never really know what's going on too. And maybe there's something about our relationship that doesn't work for her, that doesn't, and
Yeah.
doesn't mean that that's something, bad about me. It could just mean like
No.
maybe
Yeah.
it reminds her too much of something that she doesn't want to be reminded of, or it rubs up against this thing that she just doesn't want to be
Totally.
confronting every time she's in Los Angeles or, whatever,
Yeah.
whatever,
Or something
like,
she lost from the time that you guys,
right.
she like lost that part of herself and you represent that. There's so many reasons. And
So
that is
much
so
stuff.
true.
Okay, but here's the question, I think, on this, just on a very specific thing. So like we could talk specifically and generally, but on a specific thing, in a situation like that, I'm I'm perfectly comfortable with confrontation. When it comes to I'm not paying that bill. This is why, like I'm on no problem.
Right.
But when it comes to these more kind of there's no problem here, right? Like there's really no
Mm.
problem until I make one. until I kind of create one. And then I'm like,
Mm.
hey, are we friends anymore? Or I kind of want to be your friend and maybe you don't have time, or am I reading this wrong? Or nah, 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 nah. But then I'm like, well, do like I care, yes, but is that it's just like relationships. It's the same freaking thing, right? Like
Yes,
like
it
do
is.
I say anything? And if I say something, is that gonna be the well, what is she even talking about? Or like why'd she bring this up? Or you brought that up that one time, so I guess we're not friends. Or you hold on to stuff or da, 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 da. Like my gosh, talk about short circuiting. Yeah, so like would I even ever like I don't think I would ever be comfortable. I think I would just internalize this whole thing for the rest of my life. Honestly, I'll be on my deathbed being like, I wonder if we're friends.
Well, and I guess,
Hey,
I mean, it's
somebody send her my obituary, please. Just
obituary.
let her know I'm dead, so she could like close that chapter.
Yeah. I mean, it's the question of is what do you want from it? If you're not getting for what you want,
But
do you
it's
want to
also
risk
like,
it?
and why do I care so much on this? I have lots of friends, and I have close to me
Yeah.
friends. I have all these buckets, like you're saying. I have all these clothes in my closet. What is it
Hmm.
about this pair of jeans that I'm like, I really, need this pair of jeans in my closet. And I'm so sad that this pair of jeans is like not fitting me right now. Like it just doesn't fit. And I'm gonna keep it in my closet and I'm gonna lose the weight or I'm
Sure.
gonna,
Yeah.
like right? Like I'm
Okay.
gonna
So
make it keep it.
here's what I think's happening, or here's what I would how I would frame this if this in my like from my standpoint is it has nothing to do with her. The friendship you have, she's holding up a mirror for you of things that you need to look at. And
Okay, yeah.
it doesn't, it's not the friendship. It's things you need to look at. And so
Uh-huh.
your friendship with her is her holding up a mirror and it's causing you to be like, what do I want from this? Am I going to accept this one-sided feeling right now? Am I going to confront this? Am I going to risk this? Or am I just going to internalize it? That's the mirror she's holding up.
Yep.
You decide what you want to do with it.
Yes.
And and like, yeah, will you risk it? Well, just like any friendship, it's not going to go deeper unless someone steps in and is vulnerable. And if you're like, I'm fine with it, we'll just be this, and maybe in 5 years we'll reconnect again when life gets more simple. I don't know. Maybe yes, maybe no. Like if that works for you. But right now, what's happening or with the dialogue that's, that we're exchanging right now about what's going on in your head sounds like there's some things that are reflecting back to you of you trying to figure out what are my values here and what do I need?
Mm-hmm.
and and what am I going to accept? And here's what I know about you. I know about you. You don't accept breadcrumbs. Like you don't accept the leftovers.
No.
And that's not who you like. I can tell you
No.
from the years that I've known you,
No.
you
That's not my
don't do
jam.
that. And so perhaps that's what's brushing up against you right now, is it feels like there's just
Oh, it feels
leftover.
like I am accepting
Yeah.
breadcrumbs. Yeah,
Yeah.
like whatever little
I don't
Hansel and
know.
Gretel trail she'll leave, I'll be like, oh, yeah, because it's true. I mean, it is so funny that we're talking about it in this context, is it is just like dating. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, yeah, she
Yes.
called and she was like, hey, I'm gonna be in town. Like, do you want to have dinner? I'd be like, oh my God, that sounds amazing. Yes, please. That
Totally.
sounds so great. Rather than like, let me check my calendar. Like, I don't know, like we don't necessarily prioritize this all the time. So now I have to shift gears but it's what you're saying about the mirror is important for someone like me to realize because I'm getting better at this, a lot better over the last maybe 4 or 5 years. But I'm a person, and it's a part of my impulsivity and some other things. Other people can relate to this, I would imagine. And I'm like ready to go. Like you want to go to the game, I'm ready. I'm your girl. You want to go to dinner in Lake Tahoe tomorrow. Yep, no problem. If you and I are going, I'll make it happen. I'll figure it out. And
Sure.
being able to set those boundaries, I've worked on that a lot, but you have to set boundaries in friendships too, because to your point,
Yes.
to me it seems like excitement, but in fact it really is breadcrumbs because you want to go do this tomorrow. It's fine if you both come up with that. You both just came up with this plan today to go tomorrow. That's one thing. But if this person has had this plan for 3 weeks and you just get invited, the day before and you're willing to go because it's exciting for you, you kind of have to say, well, why? why? Like, why am I doing that? Like, what is that? And, it takes a lot of energy away. Yes, it gives me a little bit of energy. Does it make more of a friendship? Does it not? I mean, you don't have to like overthink and overanalyze every decision you make around friends. Of course not, obviously. But,
Right.
but starting to look at it, thinking about it as dating, thinking about it
Mm.
as the things that you have in your closet. Sometimes some of that stuff you wear every day, and some of that stuff you wear only in front of your, spouse. Some of that stuff you wear once every 3 years, right? It's true,
Yeah.
right? So you think about the vulnerabilities that you might share, and you think about the kind of the everyday. Like, I really hope I can just run into this person at carpool or coffee or whatever you have going on, and then the people where it's like, oh, I'm going to see this person, once a year or something at this party that we all go to, and it's nice to catch up, but I'm not going to make the interim effort. Yeah. So it's kind of like, how do you let that go? You need to work on it in the beginning just to make the friendship. That's kind of the hard part too, because it's so hard. I feel like that's probably a language thing I can work on right now, in this very moment. Okay. Maybe it's not hard to make friends. Maybe it's just a way contextually you just have a way to think about where to make friends, how to strategize about friends,
Mhm.
find
It's a
find people
skill.
who are doing similar things, or being more outgoing at the Starbucks or in line at
Yeah.
the wherever you are, the grocery store. You can connect, and practicing connecting, I believe, would be an avenue to friendship, right? So
Yes.
that's all part of
Absolutely.
it. So once you've invested the time, then it's kind of like growing your plant again. So here I am, I've grown my plant. And now, Rachel, you're asking me to cut off the branches of this plant I've just grown.
You're
And I have this really
pruning
good
it,
looking plant. And you're
right?
like, yeah, but do you
But
really
you
need all
have
those
to
branches? I'm
prune
like,
it.
I don't know. Those branches aren't giving me anything. They're not. They're just taking from me. Water me, water me, water me.
Yeah, it's true. But, it's like going back to that idea of I'm asking to prune it, not cut it off, but you prune back and then
Yeah,
the other
that's
branches can be
true. And then the
stronger.
what's left will grow stronger. Oh, Rachel, you're so
Yeah.
smart. Yes. Yeah, that's a really good metaphor though, truly.
I mean,
It is a good.
and I can say this, and I say this not because this is one of my hardest subjects. I don't like letting go of friends. I said I collect people. Like, I love
Yeah.
collecting interest in people. I love it. I love people in my life. Like, community is a big part of what makes me thrive. I just love it. It fills my cup many times. And for me to let go of a friendship, like, I had that happen through the divorce, and like a couple friends don't exactly know what to do with me after I don't have a partner. And
Yeah.
someone I
You
viewed
don't have
as like
that partner, you don't have this position, you
yes,
don't have that set
yes.
up, you're
So
not a part of a
all of that.
twosome, like whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I am now a different person. And so I don't fit the widget that they were looking for in their friendship circle. And I
Mm-hmm.
thought, well, but we are good friends, so it will weather it. And we didn't. And I kept
Mm-hmm.
saying, like, let me know when you're around. Let's go. Like, let me know next time you're here, and it just fell flat and flat. And finally I said, I'm going to stop giving my energy to this because
Mm-hmm.
it's not giving me anything in return. And that friendship maybe was for a season. And for that point in my life when I was married, and I'm not married now. And when I
Right.
let go of some of those, I had new friends come in, and new friends that saw me as me, not married,
Yeah.
and like just folded me in. And it wasn't without many conversations in my head and with other friends about like
Lots of
how hard it
mirrors, you mean, too, like
how
lots of
yeah.
mirrors in your
And
face. Yeah.
that was a friendship that was, over 14, 15 years old. Like, I'm just like,
Wow.
that was a long chunk. And I've had others too that have, like, faded because of that. And it's like, that is a hard thing for me to let go of because I value the longevity. I value the
So do
history. I
I.
value
Oh my
all
God.
the
I love,
memories
especially my
and time
college
together.
friends, and like my
Yes.
friends from my first job in New York. I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, they're still like my dearest. And then my, a few friends I have still from high school. Yeah. My dearest friends in the
Yes.
world. Yeah. But even now, even my newer friends, I was realizing this year, are 20 years old. It's like 20-year friendships. Even my
Oh,
newer,
yeah. Yeah,
friends.
I know. Our newer ones are now like already like a
Wow. They're like
lifetime
10,
old.
15, 20 years old, right? Yeah. It's
Yeah.
incredible.
And those those are hard to let go of because they also represent like the time your kids were growing up and the kind, like all the things
Yes.
that were mixed in there. And that's also a season, right? We have friends because we have kids the same age and we,
Yeah.
and that's beautiful. And then when the kids get to a certain point, you're like, okay, now what? So there are those seasonal friends. And for me, that has been a real piece of growth, to be able to look at those and recognize those and realize it's not me. It's not reflecting on
Yeah.
me. It's
Yeah.
reflecting on that was a season,
That's a
and I have to
season.
let go of
Yeah.
those. And
Yes. Yeah. Just like that song, right? Turn, turn, turn. Yes. it's
totally,
it's
totally,
true. It's really, oh God, it's really true because you're saying even with your kids, it's you obviously you have kids, they grow up. You can't say stay here, stay as a
no,
5-year-old. Like that's part of the process, right? There's a season for them to be 5, there's a season for them to be 10, there's a season for
totally.
them to be 15, then there's a season for them to drive and blah blah blah. Right. So even in these friendships, kind of like ebb and flow, and that whether that's friendship is your family. I watch my girls who are very 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 close weave in and out of their friendship. Even I
Yeah.
watch it every year, just kind of like sometimes it's like super super aligned in the same thing, and then other times it's like more less geographically aligned, but they just have to find different ways to express themselves as friends within even a sister relationship. So I want to talk a little bit about the point you made earlier about vulnerability, because I think that's a really important part of growing a friendship, right? So
Mm, yeah.
I was out with I have this really amazing group of women here, and I just thank my lucky stars literally every day. I'm sure as you do, for the group of women that you have in your life. It's just I hope everyone is as fortunate to have some of these, people in your life who you can call really just excellent friends. So I have this group. It's a pretty large group. And like I said, of those, some of us will be, it's not even like there's only always the same 5. It's just like some years, it's like this 5, and other years this 5 is closer or whatever. But I was out with a couple of them the other day, like, oh, let's have coffee and whatever. And as it turned out, I was the only person who could make it at that time. And then one other woman ended up showing up much later. But what that allowed is a vulnerability conversation, and how that came up. And I would just I just want to share this with everyone so you can see the opportunities that are there. We were just talking generally about our kids, our daughter, what do they have going on, this kind of thing. And I, we're just kind of asking the questions. Oh, was that the same for you growing up? Oh, is that how it was? Oh, do you still talk to your brother? Oh, did you go to school like that? And what, I mean, just spontaneously came out. I have known this woman for like, she's one of my 20-year friends now, 15 years. And I never knew this story that she told. Like, I
Yeah.
never knew the story of her family and her background and how she became the person she is, really. Like, I just didn't
Mm,
know. And I thought, wow, that's so interesting. And it was one of the most gratifying friend moments that I've had in a long
mm,
time, because I I love her so much, we do things together, and I see her, and she's, very good about keeping our group organized and things, but I felt like we moved the needle even that moment, to your point. I just felt like,
yeah.
wow, I could see her so much clearer now, because even there's like that bleeds into the way you parent, it bleeds into the way your sensitivities, it bleeds into your health, it bleeds into, right? And so having that shared experience with her, and again, I don't know if she, if there was anything that, I don't know if that was shared, but for me, getting that from her, it was like, I felt like so warm and fuzzy inside. Like this was a very
You felt,
valuable, yeah, like a very valuable
you felt
friendship
connected.
moment.
Yeah. You connected
Completely.
to
And I
her.
think actually that's
And
actually a really good point. Maybe that's what I'm missing even in my other friendship. It's we've had those moments and we're just not having them now.
yeah,
And that's sad, and I have to grieve that, and I have to kind of put that in a little
yes.
box, either in my closet or
Mhm.
maybe my attic at this point, and know that it's there. But just to share even that vulnerability. Vulnerability doesn't just happen. It's not that you both go through a similar. Sometimes you have a similar event that you can go through together, and that is shared, and that changes you. But
Yes.
sometimes you can kind of drive this vulnerability push a little bit further, and get a richer experience from the friendships that you do have, to your point. So you're not just like spreading out, being like, I have all these friends, I have all these people to do stuff with. Well, if that's your jam, that's good. That's great. Good for you. But good for you. You're probably on the wrong podcast, honestly. So but
Well,
there's a way for that to be, there's a that can live in a certain place for sure. We all have that band, and I'm that band for a lot of people. I'm a superficial friend for plenty of
mhm.
people, like a mini connector, a pinky swear, like I'm probably fine for a lot of people. And then kind of having those other buckets where people that you feel like you could be vulnerable, people you can rely on, people who I'm willing to be relied on for, which is another thing.
Mhm.
I think that's, yeah. So speaking about the vulnerabilities, I think you can probably speak a little bit to reciprocity, because the
Sure.
reciprocity is, it's not just, oh, are they giving back? It's, what am I giving and getting? And we talked about this before, right? Am I over giving and expecting,
Mhm.
expecting breadcrumbs, or am I overgiving and expecting overgiving back to me? Are we speaking the same friendship language? What is going on here? Do we talk about it? Do we not talk about it? Do I just let it go, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? And that's the whole reciprocity piece in friendship. And that may be, you can tell me your experience, because that may be, you can use as a guide to kind of, when do you let this go? When do you just do that slow
Yeah.
fade where you kind of say to yourself, I'm just gonna wait and see. I'm just gonna leave that, off on in the back of my closet, and see if it comes back in style.
Yeah. Your example of your friend who you guys you seem to connect deeply the last time you got together. It's not you connected to her, and I bet if you asked her, she would say she probably felt very seen by you, right? She felt very seen, that you were curious about her, you asked questions, and you wanted to learn about her. And that's a key part of friendship. It's a key part of all relationships, right? That they see you and you see them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the reciprocity, it's not that it's like all I can think of this friendships and relationships, let's just put them all in the same rules and buckets, because in
It's
relationships there are
true,
times
right?
that they're going to be
Dating, family,
uneven,
friendships.
right?
Yeah, all the
All of it
rules.
goes in the
Mm-hmm.
same. And so it's not always going to be even reciprocity, but the question is, over the lifetime, are you still getting your needs met? Right? Like, not in this day, in this moment, but in this last year, 2 years, like, or 6 months, or whatever it is, that timeline that you're picking to look at. Is that meeting your needs? Is that meeting my needs? And am I getting
Yeah.
something out of this, or is it draining for me? Is it just me giving, giving? And there's some friendships that I know, for friends that are in a time of need, that I'm like, okay, this is going to be imbalanced for a while, but I want to be here for this person because I care about them, and they don't have any bandwidth
Well, we can put
beyond,
people with, like,
right.
when you have little kids. I mean, that's a time when you can't, I mean,
Yeah,
you need to be, if you
for
don't have
sure.
little kids and someone else does, that's your time to, I mean, I could just be, I
Yeah.
don't know, maybe that's just a bias I have, but that's your time. Or when your parents are sick, or when you're going through,
Yes.
an
Like
illness
different
yourself
life
or whatever,
events.
right? Like, yeah.
Right. Different life events. I know
Hmm.
that then it becomes uneven. And, the other piece of that is like, but, once that wave passes, is there a symbiosis, like a way that both
Hmm.
sides are
Yeah.
getting their needs met? And then you
Hmm.
talked about the slow fade, and you're like, we could just let it be the slow fade. And here's my like, I let mine be the slow fade. That example I used, I let it just kind of fade, and I just let it be on its side. But then I've challenged myself since then. I'm like, I would never do that with a romantic relationship. I would never let it slow fade. I would have the
Oh, you do the
conversation,
close.
right? I would have the closure, or I'd have the
I don't
clarity.
know. I
Like
would
in
do that with
romantic
her. I mean, it depends
relationships,
on how romantic of a relationship
okay.
it was.
But
I wouldn't feel the need to be like, I'm closing this chapter. I would just be like, oh yeah, I don't
um
talk to you anymore.
Yeah, no, and yeah, it depends how long you've been in there and how deep you are in there. But the friendships we're talking
Mm-hmm.
about are important ones for us right now. So it's
Yeah.
not the
Yeah.
random person, it's the person with longevity. And so I would put it in a long-term relationship. And there's like, you have these conversations in your relationship, like, are we exclusive? Are we, and not that you need to do that in a friendship, but there is some like, how often can we hang out?
That'd be
Like, do we chat on the
hilarious.
phone? I know. Are we exclusive?
Talk
But
about
what I
third
do,
grade. We're best friends. You can't have any other friends. It's you and me. That's
I
it.
know. Exactly. Just you and me. You can't talk to her. um, but I don't know. I mean, I think if I were to go back or I would step into a situation like that again, I would probably challenge myself to have the conversation to see what happens because
What?
it's
Okay, but what
not
is that
something I
conversation about? Because for me it's it's kind of the ebb and flow of life. When you just, when your piece of furniture in your house is served its time and you thank it and send it off to the
Mhm.
Goodwill. So I feel like this is one of
Sure.
those things that I personally would just wish them well ethereally,
Okay.
I'm wishing you a really
Yeah.
good life. Maybe our paths will cross, but that was a really good moment, or that's been a beautiful friendship, or whatever. And
Yeah.
this is interesting because we're different, I wouldn't have a conversation at all about that.
For me, I'm curious about it. Like, I'm curious what would happen and how that
Yeah.
conversation would flow because I've never had it. So I don't know if I
Hmm.
would do it again if after I did it once, like I'd be like, okay, that was useless. Like that
Well,
did
did
not
you get
apply this part of
completion, or
relationships.
did you get something valuable from the conversation? Like, how did it
Totally.
go?
And I don't know,
Give us an idea.
right? Because I did the slow fade. I just let it go and I did the slow fade, and that's
Oh, okay.
okay. That's,
I see what
yeah,
you're
I
saying.
let the
Okay.
slow fade. But I've since then thought about it and I'm like, huh, I wonder what it'd been like to have that conversation. So if I'm in that situation again, I
Well,
might
let's
have the
role play it. What would
conversation
the
and just,
conversation be? So what would the conversation, so what happened in
okay.
our friendship
So,
that we're kind of,
all right, this is like, I feel like you're not, whatever. Like, I keep offering up times to you, like, drop me a random text. And I was like, oh, yeah, let's get together. And there's like crickets and, nothing happens and it's fine.
okay. So
And so,
you would feel like I wasn't responding to you.
you weren't making any space for me, right?
Oh,
In your
okay.
world.
Okay. Okay. So then
Right.
I'm going to say, oh, I'm so sorry, Rach. Yeah. I just get busy and I don't know what happens. And or I miss those texts, or, oh yeah, my husband asked me to do 42 things, and oh yeah, but how are you? How are you, Rach? I'm thinking about you. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, so yeah, one of those. And I wouldn't ask like that. I would say like, your life seems really busy right now. And I'm hoping we can connect. And if we can't connect, like let me know when life frees up, then we will. And I kind of left it like that, actually, now that I think about it. I did send that text of saying, like,
Mm-hmm.
life seems super busy for you right now. I'm happy everything's going really well. When things settle down, like reach out. I would love to connect again, or like see you or, do like go have share a meal or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Um, but if I were to do it differently, I might say, I value our friendship significantly and that you've been an amazing person in my life. And I don't know if we are just transitioning to different times and we are both in different spaces. But I just wanted to honor our friendship and just say,
I
I've
love that.
appreciated it so much.
I
And,
love that. I love that because that just
and
makes everything, yeah. Yeah, I love that. It's like a compliment, it's a closure, it's a completion,
yeah.
it's an honoring. Yeah, just to say, I think about this, Rachel. God, these conversations bring up so much. I have a girlfriend that I was so close to in high school. I mean, like, she and I were like literally inseparable for about well, she was a year older than I was in school. So probably about a year and a half, because we had an activity at school together that we were like involved with a lot. So probably like from the summer before, all the way through to the end of the summer after. Like, so probably like a year and a half. And then still after that, like this time for sure, still through college, here and there. But we went to different colleges and stuff. But that's a friendship that just out into the world, I would just like to say, thank you so much. Like I still think
Yeah.
about like how, and I haven't talked to her in years and years. Not for any reason, just like we're saying, this is one of those of attrition. You're ending up doing different things.
Right.
Your life goes different paths. It just, you just don't cross paths that way. But you're right. Like, there are those friendships that you just want to honor for what, even if they happen again, which would be amazing, but for what they were at that moment and how important they were to you, and if they've changed your life and for the better, like
Mhm.
just made your life amazing in one little, construct of time. Yeah, I love that. Just being able to honor that. And even if you don't do it, with the person, I mean, you can certainly do it for yourself. You can journal it. You
Yeah.
can, have the
Yeah.
gratitude
There's
for it too, right? Because,
totally.
like, okay. the grateful not greedy concept is like, on me, all over my face in this in this podcast,
Yeah.
because that is absolutely like grateful that I had that. And that is what you're bringing up now, is like, I'm so grateful for that friendship. And you're helping me now, right? Because I can think about this even in my current struggle, is I have a great opportunity to switch that and say, I'm just gonna I'm just gonna be grateful for what has gone on with that friendship, because it's been a really
Yeah.
nice, it's just really nice. I really love that friendship. I love her. I just value her as a person. And whatever it is now, I don't even know, but I'm just gonna say be grateful for that and not greedy that it's not, I'm not getting the text, I'm not getting the call, we're not having dinner, I don't get another touch point, because you never know when the last anything is, right? You never know when
Yeah.
the last time you're gonna
That's true.
hit the home run is, or you never know when the last time you're gonna see a movie is, you never know the last time that you're gonna, go ice skating. It could have been your last time, you don't even know it yet, right? So I don't want
Right.
to be greedy for the all the things that aren't happening now, that I'm acting as though those are real. Like, they're not real. What's real is that
Yeah.
we've had this really beautiful, to your point, long-term friendship that I believe
Yeah.
was really lovely. And even if it doesn't exist anymore, it can still be lovely. And to that point, that actually is very settling, because I don't have to be in conflict then, because the conflict
Yeah.
goes away because I'm grateful. Because
Yeah.
I am now grateful. I am now in gratitude. I have now made the perception. Right. I'm literally just in the last 30 seconds. This has happened. Everyone's witness to this. But I have just made that shift just to be like, I'm great. I'm grateful for the friendship that I've had with her. And it sucks. I mean, I guess
Yeah.
I would prefer it to be different, but it's not. And
Sure.
that doesn't make it any, that doesn't make me any less grateful or have any less gratitude for her in my life, where she's been in my life. And, even now, I'm obviously, she's enough in my life. I'm still talking about her on an entire podcast, so it's like, I'm still grateful,
Yeah.
right? I'm still grateful that, that friendship has existed and does exist. And however it's manifesting now, personally, I can just be grateful that was a reality and is a reality, just swirling through
Yeah.
time. Yeah, that's actually really, really helpful. And that's a good shift, I believe, for all of us to look at, because there's so many breakdowns. I mean, I've had some doozies in the last couple of years where I was like, seriously, like, you've known me for how long? You've known so much about me. We have shared so much across our families and our friends and all this, and now this is your line in the sand. Well, okay, I'm not going to chase you, but in the same light, it's okay. I'm just gonna say I'm gonna be grateful that went on. I'm not gonna hold anything. I'm not gonna hold on anything of that, right? Just grateful that
Right.
happened, and I'm not greedy, so it's not happening now. That's that.
Yeah. And, what I do know for me is when I grasp onto things, that creates so much, uh, like letting down expectations and wishing things were different.
Disharmony,
And
yeah.
that's where suffering comes
Mm-hmm.
from, right? So when you grasp or when you have expectations and they're not met, like imagine if you just lower your expectations for that friendship. And all of a sudden you're like, I want to hear from you. You're like, great, and I am so guilty of grasping. I don't
Yeah.
I change was such a struggle for me. It still is, but less so.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a big growth area. And I feel like one of my goals in this lifetime for me is to figure out how do I move through this life with is little self-imposed suffering as possible, right?
Right. Yes.
Um
Totally.
and like
Yes.
and that's the grateful not greedy part is
Self-imposed.
like
That's key. Yes.
yes, it is self-imposed. I mean, there's going to be suffering. Like there's going to be times that it's just like externally comes in and it's hard and that's where
Yeah, but
growth can
that
happen for
you
me for
can't help
sure.
that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I can reframe it and I can like put, like have a framework around it to understand it and not try and change it and just like move through it. But I also know when I grasp on to any kind of relationship that doesn't serve me and that is not going to be beneficial for me as well, like that creates a lot of disharmony for me personally.
Well,
and in
the
friendships.
grasping probably already gives you the indication that it doesn't serve you.
Right. And it is a really good skill of mine. Right? Like I'm really good at like trying to, be like, I got this. I'm so capable and so willing. I'll
Oh, I
double
know.
dog
You and
dare
I
you. I'll
both
double
reach
down.
exactly.
Like,
I will
yeah, I'm
function for
like,
both of us. I don't even worry. I'm gonna yes,
I know.
I'm gonna
Totally.
carry the whole friendship. Don't worry. I got you.
I know. I can do this. I'm strong. I'm capable, right? And there's that part of
Right.
me and I'm like realizing like that's not honoring me. And that's not putting what I need first. And that's not recognizing what's truly in front of me, what mirror is being shown to me. Like when I am shown these things, sometimes I'm like, no, I got it. And like the mirror just like stays right there in my face. I'm like, okay, I see you now. And
Yeah.
and like just moving through it. And yeah, this has been a really interesting conversation for me to kind of like think about how, especially, we're wrapping up the year. It's like, okay, what am I carrying
Yeah.
forward? Like, what friendships am I
Right.
carrying forward? Are the
Yeah.
ones I want to thrive and nourish and grow? Like, what do those? Oh, what are those? How have they served me in
Mm-hmm.
2025 and beyond before that? And what do I want out of them in 2026? And that can be
Yeah.
all your relationships, all of them, friends, family,
So true.
loved ones,
Yes.
romantic partners, like all of that stuff.
Uh-huh.
All of those questions can be like looked at here because these are all the same, whether we put it as a friendship name on it or a romantic partner or, even our kids,
Family,
like
friend,
what,
sister. Yeah.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
totally.
Your cousin,
And it's a
whatever.
really,
Yeah. Your neighbor.
uh,
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I
yeah,
think for
so
me, I love
helpful.
just kind of as takeaways. I love the concept of vulnerability just to get closer and connected to someone. I think that's amazing.
Mm.
I personally, when you talk about thriving, I thrive in that arena. I love people's narratives, especially
Mm.
people I love. I love their narratives. People who are close to me,
Yes.
I want to know them. I want to know the ins and outs of them so that I can be a better service to them and vice versa. We
Mm.
could just, we can
Sure.
talk about serving. We serve each other better as friends if we're more knowing of each other, seen by each other, all that kind of stuff. I love that. I love the concept of my closet. I love, because I like visuals. So I like being able to say, here's all my friends. Look at this closet. And right now my closet is such a mess. I don't know if my friendships are such a mess. I don't feel like they are, but it's so helpful to say, does my closet look really neat and organized? And does it, when I walk into it, does it make me just go, I love being in this closet. This is so great. I love this closet. I've got this stuff over here that I wear all the time. I've got this stuff, my fancy stuff that I used to go out, but I definitely need it. And I love it, and then I have this stuff, like I said, that you only share to your spouse or whatever, like, your special stuff. But I think if I can like look at it like that, that's really helpful because even to kind of unclutter your mind, we have all this, monkey mind stuff. So if you don't have the cluttering of friendships as a clutter piece in your mind, how freeing is that? And don't forget that, like you're saying, it's
Mm.
family, it's neighbors, it's your coworkers, it's whatever clutter crap you have going on in there. If your closet's really clean and every time you open that door, you could just look in and say, wow, this looks amazing. I'm so excited to be part of this closet. Look at what I curated. Look how, great this looks. And here, by the way, there's a mirror on the side just in case I need it. Full length mirror, like ready to go.
Yeah.
Just in case, at the ready. That to me is super helpful. And then your point about being able to let go, and then even through the context of this call, this whole talk today is being grateful, even if it's a moment where you need to
Mhm.
let go. If you want to have the finality and you want to have the conversation and you want to say, I'm sorry, this isn't working for me anymore, or I've loved our friendship and I'm seeing that I just don't, I want to clear the communication, whatever you have going on, but being grateful for the relationship. Like we've said before, you can
Yeah.
take that relationship, put it in a little chest, put it in a little box, and put it on the shelf and say, here's this amazing, grateful relationship. Not to start muddying it with all the crap that's coming now, right? Oh, she didn't call me back. And then I
Mhm.
did it. And then, she didn't call me for Thanksgiving. And then her sister called and told me she said all these mean things about me. Right? Just before it even gets to that,
Yes.
just put it on the shelf, say this is amazing, have the call if you want, don't have the call if you want, if you don't need to. And the longevity piece and the holding on is I'm reflecting on that, and I'm going to think about that, because that is part of, it's a little bit of grasping, and I have to look at that very clearly, I feel, and honestly, and say, is this me not being grateful for the reality of the situation? The reality of the situation is, yes, we're friendly, we're friends. I don't know what we are, but who cares, right? Grateful for whatever that is in existence that actually is happening, and not greedy that I can't have whatever, an extra dinner or an extra talking point or an extra conversation or any of that kind of stuff. And that frees up energy then for me to give somewhere else, which we are never at a loss of places to give. Never at a loss.
Exactly.
And any energy that I'm kind of swirling about that, right? I'm like, it frees that up. I can give that somewhere else.
Yeah, somewhere else that is a better investment for you right now, right? And that's
right now. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And, for me, it's just like reminding myself that like friendships, they're a huge priority in my life. And I want to become like definitely more aware of like, what friendships am I really investing in? Like, where am I just leaning in?
It's a really good wake-up call,
time and
honestly.
Making all the dates and like showing up vulnerable and honest and curious about the other person, and really having those conversations to forge these deep relationships.
For those of us who are, I mean, we're both the same way. So we really have to, I believe, for reciprocity.
Yes. And, for me, because of the last 4 years of my life has been such a huge transition, that I have new friends in my life that I've connected so deeply to so quickly, like my tribe of women, my sisterhood here. I am so grateful for them. And it's interesting because I don't have the longevity with them that I highly value. But I know right now, as we're talking about this, I'm like, I value their friendships so much, even though there's not the longevity there. And I was like, so what that tells me is that friendship is an important piece to invest in, because I want the longevity in that one. That one, I definitely want lifetime. I'm going to work to do everything I can to make it a lifetime. Like, I'm going to invest in it like it's a lifetime investment. And some of the other friendships I can look at and decide like, okay, are those just going to downgrade to acquaintances and be okay with that, and know that that's how much I'm investing in an acquaintance, and that's fine, because they still swirl in my world. Right. So I'm excited to spend a little bit more time unpacking this. And I love how you framed it in the grateful, not greedy framework, because that is true of how we look at these things. Like, how amazing is it that I've had that friend for the time that I did, even though we're not friends now. Like, I got so much from that friendship, so many awesome memories, and I don't have to cling on to those. They actually happened, and I can still cherish those and know that like, I got that. So thank you, Kris. Really helpful for me
so
as well.
Well said, Rach. Exactly. You don't have to grasp onto that, but you can just, grateful. That's a massive takeaway from me. Grateful. And just to almost, remind yourself when you're in these situations, it can be sticky. We know we've had friend things, go awry. We all have, in your life. And it's tough. It's hard, it's hard, especially when something big happens and you're questioning your whole friendship, and even when those just kind of slip away and you don't understand how that happened, but it's all part of life, and that's what we're here for. Live, love, laugh, and keep on keeping on. So yes, I appreciate you so much, Rach. And we're friends too, which is so nice. So
I know, and we have a longevity. There's a longevity.
It's very fun. I think we have a very nice reciprocity, a vulnerability, the whole package. Yes, it's great. I appreciate it. So this has been, is, and forever will be the Grateful Not Greedy podcast. I want to remind everyone, please subscribe to our little podcast channel, or follow us on Instagram at Be Grateful Not Greedy, and send us a little DM. Let us know what you're thinking. Give us some more topics. We love the comments. We're going to do some follow-up episodes coming up, even about comments that we've been receiving and things that people are interested in, that we, of course, are also interested in. So that'll be lots of fun. So nice chatting with you, Rach. Aloha.
Aloha.